When we think about finding alien worlds, we naturally look to the stars. We build massive telescopes and launch rovers to Mars, hoping to catch a glimpse of a landscape that defies our earthly expectations. But what if I told you that you don't need a spacecraft to visit another planet? You just need a plane ticket to the American Southwest. Welcome to Arizona. While this state is globally famous for the majestic scale of the Grand Canyon, it hides a collection of geological anomalies that feel completely detached from reality. For millions of years, this region has been cracked open by tectonic rifts, scorched by ancient volcanoes, and meticulously eroded by flash floods and howling desert winds. The result is a surreal playground of impossible rock shapes, undulating stone waves, and subterranean labyrinths. Today, we are stepping onto a terrain where the rules of geography seem entirely rewritten. These are the alien-like landscapes in Arizona that look like they belong in a science fiction movie. Spot 1. The wave our first stop takes us to the extreme northern border of Arizona, hidden deep within the rugged backcountry of Coyote Butte's north. This is a place known simply as the Wave, and stepping inside it feels like walking straight into a Salvador Dali painting. The Wave is a surreal intersection of undulating sandstone troughs that were formed during the Jurassic period, roughly 190 million years ago. What started as ancient, wind-blown sand dunes eventually compacted into stone layers. Over deep time, water and wind chiseled out two major troughs, exposing the colorful, rhythmic laminations in the rock. The visual effect is completely disorienting to the human eye. The striped bands of iron oxides create a fluid, sweeping pattern of fiery orange, deep crimson, pink, and manganese gray that looks completely liquid. Because the sandstone is incredibly fragile and susceptible to damage, the Bureau of Land Management restricts access heavily. Only a lucky few win the highly competitive daily lottery to hike out here. There are no marked trails, signs, or footpaths leading to it. You have to navigate across raw desert slick rock using a map and GPS coordinates. When you finally reach this hidden amphitheater, the silence is heavy. Surrounded by walls that appear to twist and bend around you like a frozen vortex, it feels less like a hike on Earth and more like an exploration of an unmapped moon. Spot 2, Antelope Canyon. Leaving the open desert of the Vermilion Cliffs, we travel to the Navajo Nation near the town of Page. Here, the alien landscape isn't built high on a mountain, it is carved silently beneath your feet. This is Antelope Canyon. Antelope is a slot canyon formed over thousands of years primarily by flash flooding. During monsoon season, rainwater gathers in a basin above and rushes into the narrow cracks of the Navajo sandstone, picking up speed and abrasive sand grains. This high-velocity mixture acts like a liquid chainsaw, carving smooth, flowing, and hyper-geometric corridors into the rock. Walking through Antelope Canyon is a deeply spiritual and sensory experience. The canyon walls rise up to 120 feet above a flat, sandy floor, twisting so tightly that the sky is reduced to a jagged, distant thread. But it's the light that makes this place feel truly extraterrestrial. Around midday, the sun passes directly overhead, sending sharp, brilliant shafts of light piercing straight down into the shadowy depths. These sunbeams illuminate the swirling dust particles, creating solid pillars of light that look like tractor beams from a sci-fi film. The stone walls reflect this light in a glowing spectrum of deep violets, magentas, and radiant gold. It's an organic, sculpted cathedral where stone and light perform an otherworldly dance. Spot 3. Monument Valley Navajo Tribal Park. We continue across the Navajo Nation to a landscape that defines the American West, yet feels fundamentally Martian. This is Monument Valley. Spanning the border between Arizona and Utah, this vast valley is characterized by a cluster of massive, isolated sandstone structures known as buttes and mesas, which tower up to 1,000 feet above the flat desert floor. These monuments are the final remnants of an ancient plateau. For millions of years, the slow, relentless erosion of wind and water stripped away the softer rock layers, leaving behind these solitary, vertical towers of red stone. While Hollywood has used this backdrop for decades to film classic westerns, looking at it through a cinematic lens reveals something much more cosmic. The immense, empty scale, combined with the deep, rusty, red color of the soil, makes it look exactly like a terraformed colony on Mars. The Navajo people call this area Tes B Inziskai, meaning Valley of the Rocks. Driving along the bumpy, unpaved dirt valley loop, you pass landmarks like the Mitten Buttes and Merrick Butte. When the sun dips below the horizon, the sky shifts into shades of dark blue and indigo, while the monolithic red rocks turn into dark, giant silhouettes against the stars. It is an enduring, silent landscape that commands absolute reverence. Spot 4. Blue Canyon, our fourth destination, is one of Arizona's best-kept secrets, a place so hidden and protected that relatively few travelers ever see it with their own eyes. Located deep within the Hopi Reservation in Moenkopi Wash is the surreal expanse of Blue Canyon. Despite its name, Blue Canyon isn't actually blue. Instead, it is a striking maze of brilliant red clay, dark maroon mudstone, and bright, chalky white sandstone. What makes Blue Canyon feel completely alien are the thousands of bizarre rock formations called hoodoos, spires, and balanced rocks that fill the canyon floor. Millions of years of wind and rain have eroded the alternating hard and soft layers of stone into shapes that resemble giant mushrooms, melting candles, and abstract alien statues. Even more bizarre are the sharp, precise patterns on the rocks. Natural mineral bleeding has created white, geometric grid lines and crisp rings that run across the red stones, looking as if an intelligent extraterrestrial civilization meticulously painted them by hand. Because this area sits entirely on sacred Hopi tribal lands, it is strictly protected. You can only visit with an official Hopi guide, ensuring that this quiet, jaw-dropping wonderland remains completely pristine, peaceful, and uncrowded. Spot 5, Espy Crater and the San Francisco Volcanic Field. For our final location, we leave the sandstone canyons behind and head up to the high-elevation pine forests and plains near Flagstaff. Here lies the San Francisco Volcanic Field, home to over 600 ancient volcanoes. And standing out among them like a dark monument is Spy Crater. Espy Crater is a textbook example of a symmetrical cinder cone volcano rising 800 feet above the surrounding valley floor. It erupted roughly 50,000 years ago, and because the climate here is so dry, the entire structure has remained remarkably well preserved. What makes Espy Crater feel so incredibly surreal is the aftermath of its final eruption. A massive, jet-black river of cooled basalt lava erupted from the base of the cone, stretching for over 4 miles across the flat desert floor. Looking down from the rim of the crater, this lava flow looks like a giant, dark tongue of rock frozen mid-motion. The lava rock is jagged, sharp, and completely devoid of life, contrasting sharply with the pale desert soil around it. In fact, this landscape is so accurately lunar and volcanic that back in the 1960s and 70s, NASA used the surrounding volcanic fields to train Apollo astronauts, including Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, to simulate walking on the surface of the moon, walking along the rim of this black volcano, looking down into its deep center. You realize that Arizona's geology doesn't just look alien, it was literally used to prepare humanity for space. The most beautiful realization about exploring Arizona's alien landscapes is that they aren't just empty geological curiosities. They are living, breathing monuments to the raw power of our own planet. In a single journey across this state, you can walk through a frozen vortex of ancient sand dunes, trace the paths of flash floods beneath the earth, stand in the shadows of Martian red monoliths, and touch a volcanic river that trained humanity for the moon. But as we explore these fragile places, it's vital to remember that many of them sit on sacred indigenous lands and are protected by fragile ecosystems. It is our responsibility to respect local guidelines, pack out what we pack in, and leave these wonders completely untamed. I want to know from you guys, which of these 5 Arizona landscapes look the most alien to you? Are you drawn to the liquid like sandstone curves of the wave, Or would you want to stand on the edge of SP Crater? Let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this sci-fi journey across Arizona, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next travel adventure. Until next time, keep exploring, and I'll see you out on the terrain.